There are tons of business podcasts to choose from, but only one has the stamp of approval. Kristin Stampini is South Florida's leading real estate entrepreneur and your trusted source for everything real estate.
Hi, everybody. I would like to welcome my listeners today. Thank you for joining us. I'm very excited to have recently launched a new podcast that is called The Stamp of Approval. I'm Kristin Stampini, co-founder of the Stampini Platinum Real Estate Group with RE/MAX in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also a certified real estate coach for Craig Proctor, and I'm the owner of Global Virtual Real Estate Assistants. I'm also a real estate investor, a national trainer and public speaker, and a certified inside sales agent trainer. The Stamp of Approval podcast was launched, so that I could share and educate other realtors, consumers, and other business owners across North America by sharing my experiences, my triumphs, which I've had a lot of, my failures, and my strength throughout my entire process throughout my life. My audience being able to expand their knowledge on everything real estate, business, sales, and mindset oriented. So today I'm so excited to have actually Steve Trang, who is one of my coaching members through Craig Proctor. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
So Steve is the broker and owner of Stunning Home Realty in Phoenix, Arizona. His company is involved in today, 1 out of every 150 homes sold in the Phoenix market is sold by Stunning Home Realty. Wow, that's awesome. Steve recently created the Offer Fast app, which is essentially the MLS for wholesaling real estate properties. Steve also started the Real Estate Disruptors Network and has also a weekly podcast full of great content that you won't want to miss for realtors and also for investors, which Steve will tell you about in a little bit. So today, Steve is bringing and going to be talking about discussing the wholesale process, and how he got started in the wholesale business and where he is today and what's the wholesale business all about. So I'm very excited. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining me. So talk to me. What is, number one, what is the wholesale business for realtors? What do they need to know about it, and what can they do to offer to their clients? And also for the consumers and the investors, tell us all about the wholesale business.
Well, I think wholesaling is basically just offering another program for homeowners that you're already talking to, being in the Craig Proctor program, the guaranteed home sale, right? If we can't sell your home, we'll buy it. It's just another way of saying the same exact thing. So we're seeing right now nationally companies like Open Door and OfferPad, and homeowners are excited and selling their homes to an institution if they don't have to deal with financing, inspections, appraisals, having buyers coming in and out of their house. So they're willing to sell their house faster for less for convenience. And so basically, as a wholesaler in the Phoenix market, we're offering multiple solutions to the homeowner. And that's pretty much what wholesale is. We're giving them a cash offer in addition to the selling the home traditionally.
So explain that to us.
So when you walk into a home, we go in there with a blank slate, right? We don't go in there expecting that the homeowner wants maximum cash. We'll find that more than 90%, probably 95% of homeowners do want the most amount of money possible. But we live in a microwave era where everything has to be done right now, and people are willing to pay a premium for that. So when we walk into the home, we're not going to go there and tell them how we're going to get the most amount of money. We're not going to tell them how we're going to sell the house fast and all that. We go in there and we genuinely ask them what they're looking to accomplish with the home sale. If they're trying, what their goals are, right? Where they're going and when they're going, when they get there, what they need to get there. So it's more exploratory, and it's better connecting with what they want. And when we connect better with what they want, then at that point we'll say, hey, Kristin, given what you said today, it sounds like the best way to go is to sell your home on the MLS, or given what I heard today, it sounds like the best way to move forward is a cash offer for your home.
So you're doing a consultation with them, and
Right.
by the responses, you're giving them the options, and one of your options just happens to be with with you being able to wholesale it. Is that correct?
Correct. We'll buy it cash.
Okay, and so for our listeners and the realtors, how can they utilize that for their clients?
So I think the biggest thing is you need to be in a position to purchase a home cash. So working with investors in the area is what you're going to need. I've been incredibly fortunate that I've got family that has capital, but then it's just a matter of consulting with your clients and just explaining to them the various options, saying this is what you'll net if we go this traditional route. This is what you're going to net if we take a cash offer, and then it's up to them, right?
Yep. And so so if a price, if a home is, let's say on the regular market, traditional market, sells for 200,000, what would you offer? Cash offer?
If it will sell for 200,000, then we'll be anywhere between 150 and 160,000.
Okay.
So 75 to 80%.
Okay, awesome. And then there's also other people that you can, if you are wanting to do it as a realtor, you can get them to give you a short-term loan, right?
Right. Yeah, you can get a hard money loan or a private money loan. There's plenty, and I would imagine in every market that you can find one where you don't have to pay the entire cash up front. Or I think what Craig used to do, right? Craig Proctor, our leader, he just had a line of credit for the guarantee sale program through his bank.
Right. So if you do that and you offer that, and you basically, how long do you hold on to it for?
We want to move it as quickly as possible. So if a seller or homeowner agrees to sell it for 75 to 80% of market value, then I'm going to be calling other investors in the area and selling it to them for a little bit more, right? And if that works, great. Then so they got what they want, and then we collect what's called an assignment fee. If we can't move it, then we end up buying it, and then we'll fix it up and sell it traditionally on the market, on the MLS.
Okay, so a hard money lender usually charges a couple points, like 2 or 3, right, percent?
Around here, less than 1%. I know.
Wow.
I know. In a lot of other markets, it's 1 or 2 or more points, but in our market, it's very competitive. So you can get a hard money lender for less than 1. Usually, it's like a $990 fee. There's one in town that does nothing at all.
Wow.
There's no fees at all.
And then how much percent average per month that you're holding it?
So the interest rates vary between 10 and 18%. So if you're looking at, let's just say 12%, then it's effectively 1% per month.
Okay, so explain that. So give us an example.
So let's say I'm borrowing, going back to the previous example, let's say it's 150,000, right? Then my payments on that, if it's a 12% loan, is going to be $1,500 a month.
And then you said
while I'm
like,
carrying it.
okay, and then you said like one person charges $995 or something, right? So
Yeah, one person charges like $990 up front, and then that guy's around, I want to say 11.5%. And then the guy that charges nothing at all, he's at 18%, but he does 100% financing.
Okay, so then you're going in, you're giving options to the homeowner, because if they just want to get out fast, let's say, somebody in the family passed or, whatever else.
Yeah,
And they just...
so typically what we run into is like, my mom's got cancer. I want to be closer to her in Michigan, or I got this new build that I built and we're closing in 3 weeks and the agent I've been working with has not been able to sell it. Those are, I would say, 2 of the most common reasons. It's this illness in the family, death in the family, or new construction that they just thought they could sell it in the 6 months at overpriced, but if it's not priced right, it doesn't sell.
Right, exactly. So then you just go in there and you offer what percent, pretty much?
75 to 80.
75 to 80%. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, you try to find an investor.
Mm-hmm. So we collect what's basically an assignment fee. So we take the contract, right? Let's say we buy that house that's worth 200 for 150. Then we're going to try to find other investor that's willing to pay 160, and that 10,000 would be our assignment fee, which is around 5-6% of the purchase price, 5% of the purchase price. So it's like being a buyer broker. You're just selling a purchase contract.
And do you have to have a real estate license to do that?
No, not in Arizona.
Right. Well,
I
I don't.
imagine most parts of the country.
No, I don't. I don't think you not to do that part of it. You don't. Okay, here
Right.
in Florida as well.
Yeah, you're not selling properties, you're selling contracts.
That's right. That's right. And then after that, then if you can't, then you buy it, right?
That's right.
So then you go through the closing process, and what does that usually cost you? On again using the same example, 150.
So title fees are usually around 1,000 to 1,500 after everything, including HOA. So sometimes it's 2,000 if you're buying a condo or a townhouse, but usually around 1,500 for everything.
And how fast can you close?
We can close in 3 days. It's really as fast as title. I mean, there was a situation where we were going to close the next day. They called me on Thursday, and I was going to close Friday, but she didn't tell me she was shopping me against someone else. So we were ready to go. We had title. Everything was good to go. And we said, hey, we're ready to close. And she said, oh, someone else closed.
Oh, no. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So quick closing. And then after that, if you have to close on it, then you put it back on the market immediately, right? You don't.
We fixed it up a little bit.
You do?
We'll either do the bare minimum, like cleaning, or we might do carpet and paint, or if it makes sense, then we might do the kitchen as well. It really depends on what makes sense for the area.
And then you put it back on the market. And how fast is that process? Obviously, it depends on how much you do to the home. But then how much can you usually sell it for?
We'll sell it for over what we thought we could originally sell for because we spruced it up a little bit. But it takes us 3 or 4 months. I wish it were a little bit faster, but things always take longer, it seems like.
Okay, so let's say it takes 4 months. That's $6,000. How much are your closing costs and everything costs?
About the same, right? Around less than 2,000.
Less than what?
2,000.
Okay, 2,000. So that's 8,000.
Well, then you got 2.5% commission to the other agent, and then we got if there's closing cost assistance or not. And usually in that price point, we find that there are.
So what is that total? Just so the listeners can understand.
So 2.5%, you're looking around 4,500, and then the closing costs another potentially $4,000 or $5,000 in assistance.
Okay, so 9, 10, and so then what? 10 grand about?
Yeah.
And then how much to fix it up?
So to fix it up will be anywhere between 2,000 to 10,000. We try not to go more than 10.
Okay, so let's just say 5. So now it's cost you
Yeah.
15,000 on 150. So that's 165.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sell it for
Let's say 210.
210. And then how much does it cost you for closing it at 210?
Those are the numbers. The 2,000 plus the
So that was
11,000.
You don't have to pay any closing costs on your side when you close it on.
The titles and commissions, right?
Right, you said the commissions. So okay, so let's say 15,000, and then so 165. So you just made, let's say, 50 grand.
A little less than that, but yeah, around there.
Okay, 40 grand in a matter of how much? How much time? 4 months,
3
right?
4 months. Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. And you can get a hard money loan on it. So for your realtors out there, and then for the consumers, the investors that may want to look at the wholesaling. So you can basically, there's different options again, but if you're using somebody, and I don't know what it is locally, but let's say you put $1,000 and you pay 12% on 150,000, just like what you said, and you put a little bit into it and it costs you $15,000, you can make 40 grand approximately in a matter of 4 months. And how much time is that from you?
Well, for me, none, because I have people that do it behind the scenes, but I mean, if you were to do it full time on your own, it's dealing with the contractors and so on. But we use a GC. So
what's a GC?
The general contractor.
Okay, yeah, that's just for the listeners.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and so, but then how much time are they going to put into it?
It doesn't really matter to me as long as they get the job done in the right time. So they usually can knock these things out in less than 4 weeks.
Okay, so if you're splitting it with another realtor that you hire?
I'm splitting on the wholesale operation. I split it with a partner. He manages the dialers and so on.
So you're still making what? Maybe 15, 20,000?
15 to 20, I would say, around there.
By the time, and you're literally, how much time are you spending?
Not a whole lot. The time is really more money spent in the marketing than time spent in the operations.
Okay. But you're saying even, okay, if you're able to use a hard money loan, you aren't even doing that.
Right.
So this is awesome. So as an investor, this is another option, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that if you're looking to, invest in real estate, this is a great way to do it. The challenge is not making money on the deals. The challenge is finding the sellers that's interested and motivated enough to do this.
So you have to look for, just like what we were talking about earlier, you want to look for the people that want a non-traditional type of sale because they want to move quick and they don't want to deal with anything.
That's right.
Or not move, but sell quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's finding those people. And where's the best place to find those people?
Right now, we're doing just a ton of cold calling. And that's where, is interesting to go from the traditional, and you and I talked about this in one of our coaching calls, to go from the traditional business to the wholesale business, is I'm taking everything I've learned on the traditional side with the ISAs, OSAs, compensation models.
Wait. What, ISAs, OSAs? Come on, Steve. You're talking to listeners.
Inside sales agents, right? The cold callers or the lead follow-up, and then the OSAs being the guys that actually meet with the homeowners. So we're taking that same exact model. We're just mixing it up and into different people we're calling. So the ISAs, the inside sales agents, do have to scrub a lot more because you have to get through a lot more people. So our cold callers are making $300 to $400 a day.
Now, where are they getting the information, and how can they tell? Or is it just anybody?
No. So we go through multiple lead sources. We're looking for predominantly pre-foreclosures. We've had some luck with code violations. We're getting into probate and high equity. For example, we got this one that was high equity. If this goes well, that could be this guy's got 79 other properties. And so it's just calling these people is where is the greatest work. So finding a list of people, and then after getting the list, skip tracing it, which means to find their phone numbers. So if you think about every time when you're calling Red X and calling those expires, like where do these people get these numbers from? Skip tracing is where they get their numbers from.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you can pay skip tracing?
Yeah, so we do skip tracing to find their phone numbers. Sometimes we get relatives, sometimes we get kids, but it's the way of getting hold of people, and that's what that one and relationships has been where we've been finding the most luck in wholesaling.
And what's the script? Everything has a script, right? So what's the script that you use?
So the script is basically we're calling them, hey, Kristin, this is Steve Trang. I'm an investor. I'm looking to buy a couple of homes in the area before the year's end. We were looking at maybe buying your home being one of the candidates. Have you ever thought about getting a cash offer? And you say yes, no, and F off, right? And predominantly, you're going to get a lot of negative responses, but you're going to get some yeses, and that's the ones where we start diving deeper. I said, okay, do you know what you owe in your home? Is there a time frame you're looking to sell? Why are you selling? So we start qualifying like you would an expired appointment.
An expired seller.
Expired seller. Yes.
And it's a numbers game of making those calls.
Absolutely is a numbers game. It's amazing to me to see it's just like the retail traditional real estate business. But the difference here is you've got to do a lot more prospecting on this side. But once you've prospected and you've met a homeowner, then everything else is easy because it's not as emotional of a challenge. You don't have to deal with the inspection negotiations, the appraisals, the financing. It's the Kristin, my house has been in the market for 60 days. What the heck are you doing to sell my home?
Right.
We're not. So once we've come to terms with a seller, it's really smooth and easy. So all the hard work is in the finding the sellers and prospecting.
So how many conversations, and do you know your numbers? You hear this in the coaching all the time.
Yep.
So how many conversations on average do you find somebody that's possibly interested?
So last week, for example, we had 5,000 outbound dials.
5,000? Holy cow. Between how many people?
4 or 5.
Okay, so that's 1,000 a day.
A week per person. Yeah, 1,000 a day 1,000 per day. Yeah. So And of those, we had 100 and I can't remember if it was 120 or 160 contacts. But of those contacts, we had like 19 or 20 conversations.
Okay, so say those numbers again, because you know I'm a numbers person.
Yeah.
So you called 5,000, and you talked to 120.
It was 120 or 160. I'm not really sure. We had this meeting this morning, but it was one of those two numbers.
Okay, 120 or 160, and
Of that, 19 or 20 actual conversations about selling their home.
okay, well, so once you get them, you've got about 15%. Once you talk to them, you have 15% that are interested?
That are feeling you out, right? And then of those, I want to say we booked 3 face-to-face.
Okay. And then after 3 face-to-face, how many will be interested after that?
So if after the face-to-face, then it's about, I want to say a little less than 1.
Interesting. Will you do the other ones traditional?
We try to, but it's once we go with the cash offer where it seems like that's the way they want to go, it's a little bit harder to get them back to the table on the traditional side. We're still working on that piece.
Okay. So, but this isn't that hard, is it? Like you said, it's just identifying and finding the people. Is the other part hard doing this, wholesaling?
No, this is the hard part is finding people willing to do the grind, right? So and this is what I was saying with you a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago is really fascinating. Getting a traditional real estate agent on your team to make $25 a day is a pain in the butt, right? You just want to shake them. You want to say, what the heck are you doing? You told me you want to hit these goals. You told me you want to do this for your family. And yet
it's challenging. It's definitely challenging to find the right people for the team. Yep.
But then on the wholesale side, they're willing to work their butts off. They're willing to commit to 2 hours a day on a triple line dialer, and they're in. Like they're interested. And my recruiting these days has been a lot less stringent. It's if you come to me, it's like, Steve, I'm interested in what you're doing. I want to learn how to wholesale. I want to cold call, blah, blah. I said, that's great. Here's the only requirement. You have to commit to me that you will cold call 10 hours a week. That's it. If you can commit to that, I will work you. I will help you, right? I will help you as much as you want to help yourself.
Okay, so when you're talking about 300 dials, you're talking about per person a day, if you say.
Yeah.
That you're talking about that just over 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So my commitment's only 2 hours a day to make calls?
Yeah, we don't need you to go 8 hours. I mean, that'd be great. But I know that this is it's a pretty rough conversation.
Okay, so, and if I do that, I might have one interested seller a week, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
More than one. You'll get more than one per week.
So maybe one sales transaction a month?
So the ones that we got going on right now, so Daniel, he's been our monster. And for him, we've closed one since he started calling about 3-4 weeks ago. He's closed one, and he's got another 3 or 4 potential. So
wow,
he's gonna. And we got another guy too, George, who was really good on the phones, but he wouldn't commit to 10 hours. So we just changed his passwords. It's not even a matter of firing. We're just like, hey, this is the policy. It's 10 hours. Everyone knows it.
So if they close one transaction a month, they're making what, 10 grand?
If they're closing, no. So on a traditional real estate agent, right, if they're calling, they get between 40 and 50% of the commission, right? On the wholesale, they're getting between 10 and 20% of the wholesale. And if our targeted wholesale is 10,000, right, and we can close 2 a month, then 20% of that would be $4,000.
Oh, okay.
So the hope here is for them is that we're going to teach them everything we do, and we do. We teach them everything we're doing. We show them everything we do, and it's either you can keep working with us and making $4,000 to $10,000 a month, depending on how we're doing, or how you're doing, or you can go off and do it on your own. And either way is fine. We'll teach you.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so let's just kind of wrap this up, but just kind of get into again, as a realtor, it's another option.
Yeah, I think it's crazy with how much we know as realtors, as far as sales and marketing, as far as business owners, the personal development, the leadership, everything you're already doing translates very well on the wholesale side. And we also spend a stupid amount on marketing, which again translates very well on the wholesale side. So if you're already doing all this, there's no reason not to supplement your business with wholesale, which is what I'm trying to do with Real Estate Disruptors, is educate the real estate agent community that this is an option for them.
Okay. And as an investor or a person who may want to start wholesaling that's listening to this, what do they do? How do they start?
Same thing. They can check out the podcast, Real Estate Disruptors. There's a lot of information on YouTube and Facebook, or they can reach out to me. It's Steve Trang, SteveTrang, whether on Facebook or look me up. I'm happy to help anyone that's interested in this business.
And then you do a podcast every week as well that talks a lot about it. And
so we do
go ahead. Sorry.
We do a Facebook Live, 2 p.m. every Wednesday. That's Arizona time. So it's not even Pacific or Eastern. It's Arizona time. What time of the year it is, right? But it's 2 o'clock Arizona time. And we have the best in town doing the show. In fact, we actually start having people flying in from out of the state to be on the show because we got some rock stars that have a lot to give. So we had one guy fly in from Florida, another guy fly in from Nevada 2 weeks ago. And so it's just the people that are the best in this industry are on the show. So we get to interview the other rock stars.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what about what does your app do?
Our app is it basically allows all the off-market properties to be put in one place. So let's say, again, I go to your house, you agree to sell your house to me for cash. I take a bunch of photos, I put it in my app, and once it's in the app, it's blasted to everyone else that has the app. So instead of all those email lists or text blasting for every other wholesaler that sends it to the agents and other wholesalers, it's all localized in one place.
Wow. Now, is this all across what's the reach on that?
At this moment, it's Arizona. We're hoping by the year's end, we'll be nationwide.
Oh, wow. Okay,
and
cool.
It's free, so we don't even charge for it.
What do you mean you don't charge for it?
The features we have in here right now are things I think are the bare minimum for a good free product. We're going to add some more features down the road, but right now we're just trying to make it.
So this is a test product that you hopefully are going to add more benefits to, and then you can start charging a little bit.
No, it's not test. People are buying and selling through it right now. It's a full product. We're just going to add more features that would be considered premium.
Okay, got it. That's so awesome. Okay, So to wrap this up, what are 2 key things, 2 tips that you can give people out there that are listening?
I would say the big thing is that there are no secrets. So anything that you want to do, you just got to reach out to someone that's doing it better than you. And I found that the most successful in our industry, whether wholesale, traditional, or anything else, they're givers, right? They're happy to help you. And if they're difficult to get hold of, move on, right? They're not all givers, but there are a lot of givers in this space. And the second thing, there's a lot of free information out there as well, right? Whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, there's just a lot of free information out there. The only thing I would caution is when you're looking, just don't agree to buy any gurus products. There's a lot of easy emotional tugs where they get you to buy for $5,000, $12,000, $15,000.
Oh, I've seen them. So crazy.
Yeah, or Kiyosaki with the $50,000. Holy crap. So don't sign up for any of those, right? There's a lot of good information out there that you don't have to pay. You don't have to get a lot of credit card debt to get.
And so you can actually get started with this just a couple hours a day, as you said, right?
Yeah. It's an easy overlay to your traditional business.
Right. And it's just about finding the properties, which, again, tell us real quick how to, what to use, what things you use to find the product and to what systems you use.
So we use Property Radar for finding the pre-foreclosures. We can use the MLS as well. And then we use that for high equity lists. And then as far as skip tracing, I mean, we do it in-house. So we have our own data that we're able to pull. But again, there's a lot of skip tracing services out there, but be careful who you go with because they're not all created equal.
Okay. And then what other systems you said instead of RedX?
We use skip tracing instead of RedX.
I'm sorry.
So RedX gets the data through their own skip tracing, but we found that our skip tracing is better than RedX.
And how much is that?
So for us, it's 30 cents a contact.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's more expensive, but it's better.
And then you use a dialer?
We use Mojo triple line dialer.
Okay, that's like what, $150 a month?
I think it's $150 a head.
Yeah, right, per month.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, guys. Thank you, listeners, and thank you, Steve, for sharing so much awesome information about wholesaling. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.